Earlier this evening, I decided to see what we'll be up against tomorrow. I took 2 men with me to scout the Turkish camp on the cliffs above the valley. The cliffs above Mikmash Valley create a formidable fortress. Any attempt to climb the canyon walls would be to invite almost certain suicide. Even so, if there was a way up the cliffs, it would catch the Turks by total surprise. The Turkish garrison is enormous, perhaps several thousand strong. An attack from any side but the steep canyon would be in full sight of the enemy for a great distance. A surprise attack would be impossible unless it was from the canyon itself. With the Turks distracted by an advanced assault on the cliffs, our cavalry could then charge from the plain unnoticed till they were almost upon them. But without any way to get up the steep cliffs, such a plan is impossible. All night long, I've not been able to escape the thought that I've read about Mikmash before. It finally struck me when I opened my Bible. The story's in the book of Samuel. The prophet recorded a battle that became a miracle, that took place in this same valley and on these same cliffs 3,000 years ago. The enormous Philistine army was garrisoned on the plain above the valley of Mikmash. They were fearless and brutal. Their raiding parties raped and pillaged the people of Israel without mercy. They seemed unconquerable. The last thing they expected was an attack, certainly not from King Saul of Israel. Any approaching enemy could be seen from miles away. An outpost guarded the steep cliffs down to the canyon, the only possible path for a surprise attack, and the cliffs made such an approach almost unthinkable. At the far end of the canyon, King Saul, Israel's first king, had a force of barely 600 men, camped in the same place where we sat now. Saul's army was demoralized and weak. Only Saul and his son Jonathan even had a sword. The Philistines had not allowed any blacksmiths in Israel, fearing the Israelites would make weapons to defend themselves. Saul was beside himself as to what to do. But Saul's son Jonathan was not intimidated by the Philistines. A young man of faith and a lot of courage, Jonathan slipped out of the camp one night with his armor-bearer to go find out if God would bring Israel a victory over the Philistines. The 2 men ventured into the moonlit valley, knowing they would easily be seen by the lookouts at the Philistine outpost.
אם הם יגידו לנו לעלות אליהם, זה הסימן שאלוהים ייתן לנו ניצחון גדול על הפלישתים הערלים האלה. אבל אם הם יגידו לנו לחכות כאן עד שהם ירדו אלינו, נחזור למחנה. כי זה יהיה האות שאלוהים לא ייתן אותם בידינו.
אני איתך בלב ובנפש, יונתן.
בוא, הבה נתגלה בפניהם.
Where did Jonathan get this idea?
There is no logical explanation to that. Every rational and reasonable person will definitely identify this mission as a suicide mission. To go with one sword against all this army, this is a suicide mission.
هم الخنازير! هم الكلاب! صرخت لهم! صرخت لهم! فتحوا! فتحوا عينيا! الموتي! ادخلوا من الميتين! عندنا تعال تعال عينيا! تعال! صرخت لهم قتل الكلاب! ها هما! صرخت لهم! اخرجوا! اخرجوا! كنتم رجال! تعالوا اليهم! انظروا! تعالوا! انظروا! انظروا عليهم! كذباب! لا 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 ضعوف تعال
تحت الهجوم.
Without gathering their weapons, the soldiers began running away in all directions. When Saul's lookout saw what was happening, they ran to the king and reported what they saw.
אדוני המלך, התעורר, התעורר.
אומר, מה העניין?
הפלישתים מלכי, הם בורחים.
אתה מעיר אותי כדי לספר לי מעשיות?
לא מלכי, זאת האמת לאמיתה.
עוד מעלתו, ראינו זאת במו עינינו.
מה ראיתם?
הם נלחמים זה בזה בניסיון לברוח.
לברוח ממה?
ולא יכולנו להבחין, אבל ראינו כי הם נסים לעבר הגבעות.
מהר אבנר אסף את הצבא.
כן, אדוני המלך.
היכן יונתן?
איני יודע מלכי, הוא לא בעול שלו, כבר בדקתי.
אז מצא אותו ותאמר לאחי הכהן שהביא את ארון האלוהים. נתן, קרא ונע.
Meanwhile, the tumult in the Philistine camp reached pandemonium. In their panic, the Philistine soldiers were killing one another in a frenzied attempt to escape the massive army they thought was attacking them. The Bible says that panic struck the whole army. The ground shook. It was a panic sent by God. Saul ordered the high priest Ahijah to bring up the Ark of the Covenant to inquire of God what he should do. Saul and his men set out to attack the Philistines. Reaching the abandoned camp, they picked up thousands of weapons left behind by the fleeing Philistine army. Saul and his men would chase them down and realize a great victory over their oppressors. The Bible declares, the Lord rescued Israel that day. We had found Jonathan's secret, the pass he had used to climb the steep cliff. The Turks would never expect an attack from the cliffs. A 3,000-year-old Bible story held the key to our 20th century battle plan.
Gilbert, this is outstanding.
I wondered. I prayed that God would repeat history. The Turkish army was asleep, unaware of our presence. Together we were about to repeat a 3,000-year-old story.
قوم.
نحن ضع من تحت الهجوم سيدي. الجنرال الإنجليزي ألمبي يمكن قابل جيش لمكماش.
وألمبي olmak lazım. Yettiği getir.
سلامة مش حرير ايش دعوة معك؟ اشهد